everyone, welcome back. Nicole here with Edge of Wild. Today we're working on a slightly different project than my normal gardening things. In our boredom of winter, because we have so much time on our hands, you know us, we don't, but we do in our heads, we've decided that we're going to grow Christmas trees. So it's a bit of a time investment. It usually takes like 7 to 8 years to take your transplants, get them to of size for cutting like a 6 to 8 foot Christmas tree. It's roughly like a foot per year once we get well established, but we're starting out now. So we've gotten some trees. They're like range anywhere from about a foot to 2 feet. Seedling starts. We were able to get them through our local conservation group. And we've just kind of started with how we're working on getting all of them planted. We've done a lot of research, watching other YouTube channels, a lot of them being out on the West Coast, how they kind of plant trees. So things that we're working with today, obviously our tree starts. We are working with, I believe it's called soil. I'll have to double check what it is. I'll link it down below. But it's a root dip hormone supposed to help with promote root growth, things like that. Buckets so that we have water, a place to put our root dip. We have a tree spade. It's about a foot deep, so that way we're able to easily spade open a hole to put the tree in. And then we also have a little like soil fertilizer pads or pouches, things that we're putting in the soil. So I will walk us through the whole steps of what we are doing, kind of give you a look of how we're going about it. The reality is my husband's doing all the work and I'm just here looking glamorous. We've kind of got started. They're pretty small. So what we're doing is we're working in a cornfield that's on our property. My husband started off by doing a little bit of like tillage on it. He has some clips that he sent me. I'm going to throw these in here. So once he did that, that got the ground all worked up. We had some moisture, some snow in the last 2 days and some rain. So that brought a decent amount of moisture to the soil, which is good for planting. We're excited about that. And we're just kind of putting them in, stepping them in, and then also saying a little bit of a prayer because there's just a lot of faith in planting. But I think it'll be good. We did run, I don't know if you can see the orange string line right there. We ran some string line for our rows. We're doing a rough 6 by 6 foot spacing. Could be 6, could be 5, could be 5.5, somewhere in that range. We're not pulling out a ruler because no one has that kind of time. But we have these going in the ground. He's gotten 2 rows done and we're working on our next row. We have 500 trees to put in the ground total. I think 450 are going on this side of the driveway we got in here, and then 50 are going to be a windbreak on the other side. We have Douglas fir, I think blue spruce, and then a white pine or a white spruce. I think are the ones that we all ordered. So most of them being the Douglas fir. So let me have him help walk you through the process of what he's doing. Okay, so step 1. Make the hole with our tree spade. We put a decent little gap in, so that way there's lots of room for the roots, because we want to make sure roots are all hanging down. We don't want any, it's called J rooting, where they're held up. We make a nice hole, grab a tree, We're going to put it into our root dip solution. Slap the tree into the hole. Kind of fill back in. We're able to step in the dirt because it's nice and loose. Add the fertilizer tab. Key with the fertilizer tab is make sure it's not touching the roots so that it doesn't burn anything. And then just kind of pack the dirt down around. You don't want to come too far up the stem of the tree or the trunk of the tree. You don't want to suffocate it at all. But you want it to be in the ground good enough that a windstorm's not going to take it out. So step out to our next hole and repeat process. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat.
400 more times.
You're doing good. You said you were doing like 40 an hour. Roughly. As you can see, we're real precise on measurements. It's a good guesstimation. Hey, there's a rock there. This tree spade works well. I'm glad we ended up getting it because it would be a lot harder of a process with either a shovel or a like a bar. You wouldn't make as nice of a little V ditch to put the tree in. So you can see once the tree's down in there, the roots are pretty much all hanging straight down. That's the goal. Avoid that J rooting so they can go down and be nice and strong. Since we know our tree spade's roughly a foot, that's how far down we're going. Something you can do if your roots are a little bit longer on these are trim them to be roughly a foot long. These are pretty close. I think they're only over by a little bit. I trimmed this group and it was relatively easy to just trim them down just that little bit. We're on to our next. The string lines definitely help make a straight row, so worth doing that. And like I said, those were measuring 6 feet apart with a actual tape measure. The rest of it's kind of judged based off of the line of trees that's in, once you have one in, / rough step measurements. So this is the box that the trees are coming in. What it sounds like is there's 100 a box. So you open up the box, we get it sat in the shade. They're bagged up, bundled by 10. They have quite a bit of moisture in the bag, and then they've kind of got like wet sawdust put in them to help dry them or help keep them nice and moist. So keeping that tucked in, closed up, and in the shade so that they're not heating up. This is the rooting hormone we're using. So Soil Moist Root Dip Ito. Formulated for bare root stock prior to planting or shipping. So that's what we're using. And then looks like Agriform is our little fertilizer tablet. I'm not sure. Let's see. Planting tablets says they're a 20-10-5 tablet. So 20% nitrogen, 10% phosphorus, and 5% potash. So there you go. And then it's got other breakdowns on it. So it's everything we're using, putting them in. So now we just keep adding to. I can barely see them in the... They're tiny, but they'll get there. Can you imagine what this is going to look like, even in like 5 years? Hopes and dreams, people. Hopes and dreams. So just to show you what I'm doing here, I have a handy dandy stick that I know roughly where 12 inches is, and then break that rubber band off. You can grab 2, 3. That's one's pathetic, but it's there. So kind of grab them, put them roughly all together, put them at the top of the stick, and just kind of measure. I know this little oil mark down here is about my 12-inch mark. So I'm just going to nip those. I know those ones are good. Kind of grab my next grouping. Start the bases at the same spot. And again, same thing. They're all really close to 12 inches. So a little bit of a haircut. And then these last, there's about 10 in a bundle. That's what it works out to. Get all these roots going down, and then measure. Like I said, there's like a root. The rest are all good. Whoa! Taking you guys out. Now I have my bundle. They're all measured out. Take them over and add them to the water for my husband. Can't tip it. I'm gonna lose my valuable product. One of the important things to have: muddy water. The video specifically said muddy water, not clear water. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but it's kind of funny to me. So I've got my muddy water from our little creek. It's actually just a swamp runoff that we built a roadway through, but it fills our pond that helps irrigate the garden. You can't avoid air that long. Honey, it's empty.
Well, back to work.
Honey, are you excited to be planting Christmas trees?
Oh, yes. very excited.
Do you feel like a proper Christmas tree farmer?
No, not in the least. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're doing it.
Picking rock and planting trees.
It seems to be going well so far.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
We're a third of the way there for these trees.
Yeah. Only 350 left to go.
Guess we better get back to work, huh?
I'd say.
Okay. Hi again, everyone. Day 2, planting trees. We got, and by we, I mostly mean that guy back there, got just shy of 300 in the ground yesterday. He came down this morning at like 6, started in. We put a windbreak row of white spruce on the other side of the driveway. Put the rest of the white spruce, there's like 2 3/4 of a row of the rest of the white spruce, and now we are working on the blue spruce. The blue spruce are itty bitty, like itty bitty compared to everything else over there. All that's like 2 foot, these are like 10 inches. So we'll put them in the ground, they'll probably grow. Honestly, they have less foliage to support, so I keep kind of joking maybe they'll do better, but this is all a guessing game, honestly. Trial and error. But it's one thing I would suggest if you do decide you're going to get in planting like a whole row of trees or large area. The string line's great for running your up and down rows, but I would run a string line perpendicular, so at a 90-degree angle to this string line, more or less for all your end rows, so that you know where to end and where to start. Because if everything starts and ends roughly the same, it should keep the rows roughly straight, unless something crazy happens, which there may be an occasional bit of that here. But they look pretty good on camera. Just don't overanalyze. That's gonna be my suggestion. Another gorgeous day, a little bit warmer, but a breeze this time, a little overcast. Hoping that we get this done in the next hour. I think we have 75 left because we have 100 of these. He's done one bundle and they're 25 tree bundles. So we'll see if we can get 75 trees planted in the next hour. Right now he's going through and making all the holes. God bless him, because I've done some of that and that's a lot of work. Okay, enough talking, more working. Last tree.
The one you're looking for.
Last one. Thank goodness.
$502. We had a couple bonuses.
You going to count? Because I'm not going to count. How does it feel to have put 500 trees in the ground in the last
12 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you did it in, I think, 10 hours of work time.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Are you going to do it again?
No, 300 next year.
Oh, okay. I've got that on tape.
Good. That'll come back to bite me.
Definitely. Okay, a couple days later, but we have everything planted. So, 500 trees in the ground. They still look alive and good at this point. So now pretty much we just cross our fingers. We did get like 8/10 of an inch of rain Saturday night. Like it came down heavy. So everything's really wet. The one end that's wetter is very wet. Fingers crossed that they do okay. We're supposed to have a couple of showers, but nothing big this week. So I think that'll help dry it out. It's cooler temperatures, so hopefully that gives them a chance to root in well before we warm up for the summertime. Thanks for coming along, and I will keep you updated on their progress.